Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the, big struggle going on over here with the gaming industry. And as I'm sure you guys know, right now, gaming kind of seems like it's in a huge bubble, where essentially every game costs hundreds of millions of dollars if they're like these really big AAA games, to the point where you have to go and sell millions of copies and have really long-time loving people playing your game. Whether it comes to a game like, say, Destiny, we have to have a lot of microtransactions and DLCs to essentially funnel and keep on paying out the employees and making a profit. Or huge games like Spider-Man that are basically expected to go and sell like 10 million copies just for them to even try to have a chance to go break even. And we're seeing some really big bubbly-ish type activities when it comes to the gaming sphere. And I do think right now gaming is basically like 1 inch away from basically completely crumbling. It is not good. Right now, there's a lot of really big worrying signs. Right now, it seems like we're in a really big AAA gaming bubble, and I want to go sit back here and kind of give you guys my somewhat thoughts, hopefully somewhat educated thoughts too as well, on why I think gaming is like kind of in danger right now. And well, hopefully I want to hear your thoughts and comments and everything down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on if you guys enjoy the video content, whatever. We have the Twitter and Twitch link down below, and of course, sign up for Weeble, get a bunch of free stock down below. Let's dive on into the video itself. So, these past few, I'd say past 6 months or a year, the gaming industry has been on a very flip-floppy side. We just saw a lot of really heartbreaking layoffs this past day when it comes to PlayStation. A lot of really big development studios and beloved games have actually lost a lot of employees. We're talking, at this point, thousands upon thousands of people in the gaming sphere. Same with Xbox too as well, and other various big publishers. But the one thing to note is that right now, a lot of these big games are doing horrendously. They'll be spending hundreds of millions of dollars and will be lucky to even get a fraction of that money back, whether it's on marketing, whether it's on normal games. And, well, it's kind of scary because right now we're even seeing big things where it says, The Last of Us Part 2 cost over $220 million. Horizon Forbidden West cost over $212 million. God of War Ragnarok cost over $200 million. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 cost over $300 million. That is $1 billion just spent on game development for some of the biggest PlayStation games. Now, typically, these games do make a lot of money back, and these are really big sole profit drivers for companies like PlayStation. So I do want to go and say, high level, this makes sense. They're making money. This is their business model. It's understandable that they want to have and spend a lot of money on these big games and make sure they're as close as perfect as they possibly can. But the one big thing is if these games keep on getting more and more expensive and it keeps on expecting more and more and more to go cover the cost on just development alone, we're only basically 1 or 2 really big games away from the entire industry crumbling. Now, an intriguing thing, because it's kind of already happened. If you guys have been seeing these past few weeks, we even saw 5 or so games, especially on the PlayStation side, get canceled. We saw The Last of Us multiplayer, which probably would have driven a lot of money, probably already spent a lot of money as is. We just saw the most recent news too as well of the Twisted Metal game as well being canceled too on top of this. And this is kind of what we're trying to go and say, is that we have all this really cool vibes of potentially new IPs or reestablishing old IPs that were good. Something like Twisted Metal was an old school game that people liked. The TV show had good reception. Or other things such as The Last of Us multiplayer. It may not be the biggest game out there, not like The Last of Us Part 3, but it would be probably a still somewhat hopefully used game that people like, would enjoy, and hopefully make profit. But right now, it does kind of seem like this game industry is in a huge bubble because it's a lot of money. Each of these games, PlayStation greenlights, is now in excess of $200 million plus. No company in the world has and is greenlighting $200 million plus game entertainment packages back to back to back, except for Sony, which is still a win. Right now, we're basically on the cautiously optimistic side. This is a win. If you're able to go and spend this much money and have a very high quality game, and people are still buying the games and enjoying the games, that is a win. But the one issue is what's going to happen when the win isn't there? What's going to happen when Sony fails? What's going to happen if they make a Spider-Man 3 and the game is horrible for whatever reason? Now, in theory, if you have good management and good employees, it's probably going to be really hard to make that happen. But it's not really a what if, it's more of a when. Because we've seen other big games flop. Think about Halo. People used to think Halo was untouchable. And then at a certain point, when you get to Halo 6, and then you're okay, what's even going on over here? Who are these characters? What's going on? And then the sales drive. Halo Infinite was a flopper. It happens. It really does happen. Even the most recent Ratchet & Clank, very beloved long-term series, did well, Like, they had a bad install base, sure, but it wasn't like a huge profitable game. It took a really long time for them to make money. They're saying, so these projects are the most costly entertainment products ever produced, developed, and shipped as well. Pointing to PC, even day and date will not fix this issue. In fact, they'll date will make even less revenue. It's crazy because right now people are like scared about the future of gaming. Because a good example is Spider-Man. Basically, Spider-Man 2 cost over $300 million, and they need to go and sell at least 7.2 million copies at full price to break even. Layoffs are likely coming to cut costs, which this was like 2 months ago. We actually talked about this pretty in-depth when that actually happened in the first place, and it seemed like it came true. It seemed as of right this second, a lot of these games are unsustainable. So it's not like, hey, I'm just kind of blabbering. It's more of like, hey, we're noticing that this is going to be a trend, and the higher-ups at PlayStation, at Xbox, whatever, are also noticing the same thing, where games are costing too much money, and it's like a risk. It's like a gamble every single time we try to make a game. They said this a lot, that they basically had to go and spend so much money. They said, we have to make future AAA franchise games for $350 million or less. Reads one side. This is all from the big leaks from a sustainable budgets presentation earlier this year. In today's dollars, that's making Spider-Man 2 for $215 million. That's $65 million that's on our Spider-Man 2 budget. And as well, they're saying, is this even going to be like evident? Like, are people even going to notice that we're spending this much money on a game? And I think this also kind of goes and slides into part two. Well, look at games like Helldivers. That is not necessarily a $300 million game, but it's turning a profit. Think Palworld, where it's not a crazy $300 million game, but it still had the community by storm, mainly because it was like a somewhat unique premise and a fun game experience. For both of those games, those are what people want. I myself, and I don't want to speak on everyone else's behalf, but I like the idea of having just a fun game. I would spend $30 on a game that'll kind of go give me 100 hours worth of content, think like a Stardew Valley or a Terraria or even, just games of that nature, because they're good long-term games that I enjoy. But the part two of this is what's going to happen in the future when every game turns into a huge AAA game. What's going to happen when you have to go and sell 7 million copies for Spider-Man 3? And for whatever reason, maybe the game is mediocre, bad characters, just bad marketing, people are overtorn, maybe it's on the PlayStation 6 and no one has it yet, like kind of they did for the Ratchet and Clank, then what's going to happen then? Is it just going to be even more layoffs? Is it going to be more people just being disappointed? What if the game is a buggy mess? Because we've had a lot of games recently that are just instantaneous flops. It's just rough. Like we just know the gaming sphere cannot always be throwing out money on these mediocre games that cost all this money. Sometimes it's better to go spend $50 million on a AA game that's going to do probably well because they have just more like efficiency and more just people working on it than a $300 million AAA game that absolutely flops. And this is where things get scary. Because how do you make this money? They have to say either reduce the game budget, length of the production of the product, and charge less and price the game at $40-50, or have caps on these products of under $200 million. Basically saying like people are scared of what's going to happen on the future of things like PlayStation. Like they make good games, they're rolling, I enjoy these games. All the games that cost a lot of money, I enjoy. Like you could tell there was passion and heart and soul. But once again, passion, heart, and soul doesn't always go and make you money. And sometimes you need to go and downscale a game. Like, not every game has to be like a cinematic masterpiece, which I do appreciate. Like, I don't say I don't. But, like, not every game has to be like this crazy, oh my God, we spent $500 million on God of War 3. Like, they're fun, they're cool, but other games are making money. And people just always forget that gamers want to have fun. I want to have fun playing games because that's what's enjoyable to me. That's what's fun to me because I'm having fun by having fun. Like, it's like, that's like an easy equation. But this is like unsustainable because you can't spend hundreds of millions of dollars on every game because once it flops once, then you just, like I said, you're just going to lay off more people. We already had to deal with layoffs now. We're already at that like weird tipping point where we're not really sure what's going to happen for games as a whole because it's scary. We're in a scary spot right now in the gaming sphere. And I think people need to go and take a step back and kind of go back to the roots because I think we're in a huge gaming bubble. And the gaming bubble is not going to get like better because we have inflation, we have more people working on games, the expectations from consumers go up and up and up. And what are we supposed to do? Like at a certain point, it's going to be like we have to sell 50 million copies of a game. Gaming as a whole is growing. More gamers are being born by the second. But it's like, it's rough because no one really knows what's going on at the end of the day. And like, yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm just intrigued in all your own thoughts because I think right now we just need to focus on fun games. I think right now we just have to enjoy ourselves. So we have to go and find the games and kind of greenlit more passion projects and older IPs and not just get a rehash in the same 3 or 4 IPs over and over and over again. Same thing with like Halo. Like, we need something new and a refresher. It doesn't have to be necessarily Halo 8, but I wouldn't mind something new. And also, I do appreciate something like Halo Infinite that took a risk, even though it failed, but at least it is something new as well. So give me your thoughts. There's a lot of stuff on here. I think the gaming sphere is hanging on a thread. We're seeing layoffs everywhere, and I hope everyone's going to be okay so as to have jobs in the gaming sphere. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch down below. We have the Weeble links too, and I appreciate y'all for watching here in the first place.